Welcome. Drink less, feel fresh, family and listeners. Tommy Cartwright here, founder of Drink Less, Feel Fresh. Can't wait to rock out with you for this morning's weekly Monday Fresh AF podcast recording. If you're watching this live, hello. Jump into the chat panel, say hello. If you're listening to this on Spotify, hello. Hope you're having a great day. And if you're watching this on YouTube, great to see you here. We are diving into a very short, sharp, and powerful insight when it comes to drinking less and feeling fresh. If you're on an alcohol reduction journey, if you're looking to live a life of sobriety, if you just want to learn to live in moderation, if you're like many of our Drink Less, Feel Fresh listeners, you just want to live with moderation, you want to enjoy the fruits of alcohol, the social aspect, the connecting with someone and having important conversations, cheersing and celebrating certain rituals or events, yet you don't want those negative consequences of impacting your liver, causing you psychological harm, which is guilt, shame, blame, or causing you emotional pain, which might be anxiety, worry, overwhelm the next day, etc., etc. If you're looking to live with choice, and ultimately if you're looking to live with freedom, then this call and this class, I should say, is going to be right up your alley. It's one of my most favorite topics. It's often overlooked when it comes to the traditional medical industry and approach to alcohol reduction. There's nothing wrong with that when I say that. It's just important to understand how this works. And if you can see from the title, or if you saw from the title of today's podcast, the title is Meaning Matters. Meaning matters. Now, whilst there are an array of reasons why we drink, and we all become addicted to alcohol for many different influential reasons, some of us experience a biological, chemical addiction. Some of us experience more of a behavioral addiction, which means we're more influenced to drink at the end of the day or in social situations because our behavior patterns suggest that it helps us feel safe in certain environments or around certain people. There's many reasons why, but the one thing that connects everyone, whether you drink a lot or you drink a little, the one thing that connects everyone that we want to be aware of is meaning. Now, take what I'm about to share with a grain of salt. There's many other podcast episodes that will contradict what I'm about to say, but most lessons in psychology and human behavior are actually quite contradictory. Now, you might be thinking, well, how does that help? Or what's the purpose of that? Because when it comes to human behavior, when it comes to psychology, we need to understand that most lessons are what's called contextually appropriate. They apply for a certain context, right? I'll give you an example. Contextually appropriate, when it comes to my health, it's important that I put myself first. Because if I put myself first, I can get to the gym. When I get to the gym, I can look after my body. And if I look after my body, then my kids, they get the best out of me. Okay, so it's important to put myself first. However, now the context, obviously, you'll notice it from listening to this podcast, I always give real life examples. I don't like reading examples out of a book. I'll give an example for those of you that know I have a couple of beautiful young girls. When it comes to one of my daughters at the age of 6 months, needing their nappy changed, the message of put myself first doesn't apply. It's put infant first, change nappy, feed, comfort, cuddle, whatever it is they need. Okay, so messages in human behavior are very contextually appropriate, and that's important to understand. One thing that, regardless of the context, matters so much when it comes to living with choice and freedom is finding meaning. And this is the thing that I said I would say that might confront some people, or it might sound like, oh, it can't be that, Tom, or I don't want to be labeled as that's the thing because I've got all these other issues going on in my life that are leading me to drink. But I'll say it anyway because it's important for us all to know. The antidote to any and all addiction is a life of meaning. To live a life of meaning. In fact, the reason why the majority of us overconsume alcohol is because we lack meaning in our lives. We lack meaning. Another one good way, you probably hear me say this 100 times over these podcast episodes. I say this a lot. The antidote to any and all addiction is living a life you no longer want to run away from. Living a life you no longer want to run away from. And people kind of say, well, I've got a good life. I like my life. Well, look, at the end of the day, if you're drinking more than you'd like, you're running away from a life that is lacking meaning. Now, when you hear the word lacking, it doesn't mean you don't have meaning in your life. A lot of people say to me, no, Tom, I've got meaning. I've got beautiful kids. I've got a great job. I have my dog at home. I love it. Whatever it is, it's not saying that you don't have any meaning. It's saying that you don't have enough meaning that your body wants for you. I'll give an example. Most people don't realize why dry July works so well. So dry July is a 1 month of the year, or the biggest month in the year, especially in Australia. If you're listening and you live in Australia, where a lot of people band together, they pay or they donate money to go dry July, which means no alcohol for the month of July. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is why people find it so easy or easier to crush their alcohol reduction goals during that month, but the rest of the 11th months they seem to struggle. Why is there this phenomenon where every July comes around, a lot more people are willing to say, yeah, I'm going to kick booze to the month? And here's why. Because the premise, or the traditional premise of dry July, is to raise money for a charity. Okay, so either pay to do dry July and your money goes to the charity, or you do dry July and you raise money, almost like, one of those fun runs, or the push-up challenge, or the water challenge. We do these challenges. Now, psychologically speaking, the reason why it works so well is because there is a lot of meaning associated to the alcohol reduction journey during that month. Individuals have found a meaning. They've found something that they believe is more important than their alcohol that month. Let that sink in for a second. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. As you know, we don't strip and edit these podcasts, so you are live in studio with me on the Mid-North Coast. And I'm about to have a sip of my delicious tea. Oh, beautiful way to start the day. So that is the number one reason why individuals find it so much easier to change their relationship with alcohol when they have meaning associated to it. And what a great way to associate meaning than having a cause or a foundation that are receiving your support, your funds, et cetera, et cetera. Those of you that are watching live, feel free to jump into the chat panel. Let me know how this is going down. If you're on an alcohol reduction journey and you are looking for different ways to increase your motivation, your confidence, your resilience, and even just the want and the desire to get out of bed in the morning and crush the day without switching off at the end of the day with a glass of alcohol, and my question to you is, how can you bring more meaning to your life? How can you bring more meaning to your life? Now, there is a hidden negative or consequence of only detoxing because of a charity. I'll give an example. One of the negative consequences that some people don't realize is that if they're only doing dry July every year, but they do wish they could do other months where they're not drinking, one of the hidden consequences is they haven't realized that they've found meaning in other people more than they've found meaning in themselves. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. I'll give you some tips and steps that you can take action on before the end of this podcast session. But what it means is, what the meaning means, what it means is that we do tend to naturally find it easier to find more meaning in being of service to others than looking after ourselves. We often and do tend to find it easier to find meaning in helping people that are worse off than us than finding the meaning to help ourselves. We know our health could be better, but often we don't take action on it. We know our family relationships could be a little bit better, but we often don't detox because of that. We know that we could be more productive and wake up feeling fresh and just be vibrant and like the body that we're living in a little bit more if we weren't hungover from time to time, but we often don't take action on that. But if you find a certain charity or place or community that needs you to donate your time or to donate maybe your beverage money for the month, we do tend to find it a little bit easier to find meaning in that. Just going to clear my throat. Now, the thing to be aware of in that, the thing to be aware of in this is that it's a great starting place, but we do over time want to learn to realize that we are worth it. We are worth detoxing. We are worth kicking alcohol to the curb, kicking cigarettes to the curb, kicking any reliance or overdependence on any substance. For those of you that know me a little bit more intimately, you'll know that I'm about nearly 3 months into a coffee, or probably 2 months into a coffee detox. Just kicking any substance that's holding us back from more productivity or love or light or connection or family or energy or health or whatever it is. So I'll say it one more time, listeners, meaning matters. And if you don't have a solid meaning, another way to define meaning is your why. A why is why you're doing it. Dry July works so well because everybody knows why they're doing it. We're all raising money for charity. It's a very socially acceptable thing to do. So when people hear we're doing Dry July, unlike in June, when we tell them we're not drinking, they say, oh, why are you drinking, Tom? Have a drink. Oh, come on, just celebrate with us. When someone says, I'm doing Dry July, there's a meaning, there's a why, everybody knows it, so everybody accepts it much quicker. And that's what we're looking for. We all need meaning in our lives. Say it one more time. The antidote to any and all addiction is to live a life you do not want to run away from anymore, or to live a life that you can't run away from. You have too many responsibilities. That's why people find it easier to crush Dry July. They have a responsibility. They don't want to let the kids down, or the charity down, or the foundation down, or the money that's going to the charity. They don't want to interrupt the process of that money getting into their hands by slipping up and having a few beverages. So meaning matters more than you'll know. A lot of people want to jump straight into the chemicals, straight into the psychology, the neuropsychology of alcohol and addiction. At the end of the day, when we have a large reason why, and we have a large meaning behind why we do what we do, we're much more driven, motivated to make those commitments and to follow through with them. So I welcome you for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, wherever you are in the world listening to this podcast, to think about how can I add more meaning to my life. And like myself, you may be thinking that's just too difficult where I'm at in life. You might be like, meaning, geez, I'm not there yet. Or you may be someone similar to myself who feels that they have a lot of meaning. I've got a beautiful family, my amazing wife, and lights my soul on fire every day. My beautiful kids, when I think about them, I smile and I feel calm. And I believe I'm living a meaningful life. Yet there's always deeper ways to add to that meaning. Even myself, I'm 9 to 10 years into the human behavior and psychology world, and I've only recently just signed up for a new charity and a cause that I want to support financially and even potentially time-wise if the opportunity arises. And because of that, I know 110% without a doubt that my commitment to myself to step up, to be the best version of me, skyrockets and increases every single day. Meaning equals freedom. Meaning equals freedom. Point me in the direction of someone who says, I'm struggling to reduce my alcohol intake. I will point you in the direction of someone who's asking for more meaning and they don't know it. I'll say it one more time. Point me in the direction of someone who wants to reduce their alcohol intake, but is struggling to. I will point you in the same direction to see someone who wants more meaning in their lives and they just don't know it. So the question to ponder for this week's episode of the podcast is, how can I bring more meaning to my life? How can I bring more meaning to my life? And a great place to start is looking for a charity, an organization, or a foundation to donate your time, your energy, or even your beer money. Great way to go about it. Count how much money you spend in alcohol for the week. Think about detoxing for that week, and at the end of the week, donate that money to a certain charity. If you struggle to switch off at the end of the day without alcohol, look for a charity or an organization. You can donate your wine o'clock time is a great one. This has changed people's lives. I've told many people, countless people that are really struggling to switch off at the end of the day. Find someone that needs your time more than alcohol does. Alcohol does not need your time. There are people, places, communities that do need your time. No matter how big your day's been, no matter how much you've done, switching off at the end of the day by being of service to others is, I don't need to talk to anybody about this. We all know it is so much more beneficial than switching off with some alcohol. I absolutely love this topic, so I'm going to consciously zip my lips here. I trust you've absolutely loved this week's episode of the Feel Fresh and Free podcast episode series, which was titled Meaning Matters. Two major keys to walk away with, which is number one, What is your meaning, and how can you bring more meaning to this journey for yourself and actually take action on it? It's not something just to sit and ponder. It's actually to take action on it. How can you bring more meaning to your alcohol reduction journey? And number two, understanding this principle by realizing that's why Dry July works, because everybody gets together and donates money to a charity, and therefore it works really well. The only unfortunate thing is a lot of us want to drink less all year. We don't want to have to wait for something like Dry July. Trust you've absolutely loved this episode. See you next week, same time, same place. What a great way to kickstart the week feeling fresh AF. If you're watching this on YouTube, goodbye, have a great day. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, have an incredible day or evening wherever you are in the world. Tom Cartwright here, founder of Drink Less, Feel Fresh. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or you're even interested to jumping on board on any of our upcoming detox challenges and programs, please feel free to head straight to our website, www.drinklessfeelfresh.com, and you'll be looked after. Alternatively, you can always send me an email at info@drinklessfeelfresh.com. I personally manage those emails and make sure you are responded to. Bye for now. See you next week.